Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Township Committee meeting for Tuesday, May 27th. If you're willing and able, could you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
We'll move on to the Open Public Meeting Statement. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cranbury Press, Trenton Times, and Home News Tribune on January 3rd, 2025, posted on the Township's website, and sent to those who requested a copy of this notice. We will move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher?
Here.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Here.
Dr. Rogers?
Here.
Mr. Scott is currently absent, and Mayor Kinnear.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any additions or changes to our agenda this evening?
None.
Okay, perfect. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the Township Committee minutes, both the regular meeting of May 12th and the closed session of May 12th?
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. We'll move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott is absent, and Mayor Kinnear.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get, who wants to volunteer for members of the committee for updates? Thanks, Barbara.
Yeah, there's an Environmental Commission meeting, May 19th. Just want to run down some of the things that are going on. The Community Energy Grant is still in the works. We have it. It's just paperwork has to be done. Met with Teresa regarding recertification as a sustainable Jersey town. As you can see, we've been doing this for 15 years. It's over there. We're silver at this point. This year is another year for recertification. New recycling guidelines. There were some clarifications there. The school garden, lots happening there. Some great leadership from Delpha George on the school garden, working in partnership. Adopt a Drain by Gabe. He spoke with Plainsboro to find out how their town runs their Adopt a Drain, and hoping to create a map so that individuals can take care of drains outside their certain area. June 7th is a trail day, 9 a.m. Reinhardt Property Trail. EC is asking the public to come help maintain the trail there. And 11:30, the Girl Scouts have redone a kiosk in Cranbury Brook Preserve, and it's a Monarch Way station. They've worked really hard on it, and they're going to do a presentation, and treats will be served. I was asked by the Watershed Institute to join the Upper Millstone Watershed Working Group. It's everyone has seen that now, but they specifically reached out to me because I've worked with them before. It's a regional approach to cleaner water and reduced flooding, and it's for a regional approach to water management. And it's the MS4 permit, and that is it.
Okay. Can you share that date for the cleanup?
June 7th. It's National Trail Day, and so they thought they would partnership with National Trail Day. The one other thing that I wanted to mention is this didn't have to do with the EC, but Shade Tree is reworking their appendix to the ordinance for tree removal and replacement, and they're updating the form that you need to fill out if you take down a tree on your property.
That's it. Thanks. Yeah. Any questions for Barbara? Good. Amon?
I will, if you don't mind, share some updates, and then I'd like to share some thoughts.
Sure.
If you don't mind. In terms of my boards and commissions, nothing has met since our last meeting, but we did have a meeting with CHA May 14th, sort of to extend the affordable housing conversation. And on May 19th, I attended actually a celebration at the Governor's Mansion for Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. And that's really it in terms of activities. I really wanted to share some thoughts, given how I have felt since the last meeting. And It's been very difficult to see myself, I believe in particular, to come under a level of scrutiny that I don't feel that I deserve. I am not your forever foreigner. I will not be your forever foreigner in this town. I do the work here. I step up and I clean streams with you. I volunteer in many spaces with you. I am there when you are at your funerals to bury your dead. I am there to celebrate when you are celebrating. And I love this town. And I'm not the forever foreigner. When we march at the parade to have a local resident point their hand like a gun and shoot 5 times as if they're taking a shot at every one of us here on the TC, it's despicable. And when I have people in town putting up my address online, encouraging one another to go get them, it's despicable. When we left the meeting last time to hear a resident in this room say, someone is going to get robbed, it's despicable. My children are afraid, and I'm afraid for them. I am not afraid for myself. I'm afraid for them. If that is your Cranbury way, then continue. It is not my Cranbury way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom. Rob?
I will go through subcommittee tasks. I was unable to join the school board meeting. I was out of town. The HPC meeting we met on the 20th. There were a few applications that were heard. There was some conversation about the historic district amendments, homeowner letters being sent out. The lack of response to the survey is going to cause an additional outreach to folks, because I think we've only got 2 responses to the survey that went out. Additional conversations, there's a planning board meeting on the 9th. The CLG grant deadline has been moving, no updates on that for additional registration of historic properties. The Hamlet process is ongoing to get the certificate of eligibility. Some other pieces of business as it relates to, or some conversation, I should say, as it relates to the Protinic farm. Also some conversation about the overlap of affordable housing sites as it relates to historic housing sites. And I think that's that covers it.
Okay.
Questions as it relates to that?
What was the process for the survey? Like, what can we help or amplify, or what's the survey intended?
I think the hope is going to be to put it in the mayor's update.
Okay.
Potentially send an email out to all of the affected folks.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The survey was for,
To garner feedback as it relates to the new guidelines.
The
for
buffer,
the removal of the
removal of
buffer
the buffer.
to the now historic zone.
oh boy, okay. Okay.
Anything else?
How did they put the survey out? Just curious.
I think it was emailed and they got, Jen could probably speak to it directly, but if
Jen responded.
They only got 2 responses. Well,
No, you can,
I'll follow up afterwards.
Sure, we
Okay,
can
so I'm
just-
just going to say, so thank you for trying. I know Robert's new to the committee. We sent it out in the mayor's email. We got 2 responses. We tried to push it out again, and we're going to do a homeowner letter. The survey is evaluating the current design guidelines that we have right now as we're working to update them.
Right.
welcome.
Hello. Apologies for being tardy. I was unable to attend the Parks and Rec meeting, but I had a nice conversation with Brendan Hansen, and I watched it on YouTube, the meeting, on double speed, which I recommend to everyone. It's a really fantastic way. So I've saved half hour of my life.
I'm just making a note for the planning board meeting. Double speed. Yeah.
A couple of things, all good things coming from Parks and Rec. Pickleball court contract to resurface the pickleball court and tennis courts. That contract has been awarded to a vendor. Work should start hopefully next month, 2 months, soon, yeah. Pavilion roof should be installed by the time of the next Parks and Rec meeting next month. That's what Ken Jacobs tells us. The chess tables by the school will be installed soon. There was a couple other housekeeping items. The Parks and Rec committee, since we combined the two committees last year, Parks and Rec has been looking at the code for Parks and Rec, and there's some language and some wording that they want to change. They're going to work on that, and they're going to present something to the TC in the next month, 2 months.
Okay.
We'll
Code-
see.
code change.
I told them I would ask if maybe we'd want to have a work session with them to go over any of that, but
Oh.
we've got a lot on our plate. But
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
June 7th is coming up. There's a trail maintenance day, which will be a lot of fun with Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We already mentioned this.
Barbara covered it.
Okay, that was great. Damn it! Steal my thunder.
Was that your cherry on the Sunday there?
Get the dates, the times. All right, good, perfect.
Oh, the times we need.
9:30 at Reinhardt. I'm sorry, 9. Thank you, at Reinhardt. 11:30 at Cranbury Brook Preserve. At 11:30 there'll be snacks and water.
Treats were mentioned.
And please bring your trimming tools and bug spray. Okay. The last thing is just that they are planning to have a band present for the 5th of July, similar to what they had last year. So that's it.
Okay. All right, any questions from Matt? Okay, we continue to have a planning board subcommittee, which is basically to review the checklist that the planning board has to go through. And we're near completing that. Part of that section that needed to be reviewed got sent to HPC because we want to make sure that there might have been some inconsistencies there. And while we're redoing the checklist, we want to be inclusive of that. And then the next will be the shade tree to make sure that anything that's written in that code that in the checklist. And then we'll move on to if there's any kind of code renewal or modification that we need to make based on those checklists. But that's a lot of heavy lifting. And honestly, I learned a ton. So you can ask me a lot of questions about that checklist if your application is good for readiness. And I think I could do it now. Not well, but I could do it. And then prior to us going through the agenda, in the spirit of transparency, what we're trying to do is when we have public comment, we want to take that public comment. If we can't answer those questions there, do the research, do the work before the next township committee meeting so we can come back and address a couple of things that were mentioned there. So I want to start just again with, I have continued to read social media posts, rewatched our previous township community meeting, and I've spoken to many residents around town to continue to educate them on the affordable housing process that we're going through right now. I want to address certain comments that are being repeated and make sure that everybody understands they're either wildly inaccurate or they're completely not true. So I want to address some of them. The first thing I'd like to address is the comments being repeated that the letter received by Mr. Henry addressed to Henry Realty Co. was the first and only communication that was had on behalf of the township. This is completely false. The site was visited and we did a site visit was conducted where the property owner was not home, as we later learned that they reside out of state. This is also when we learned that there is a tenant farmer leasing that property. The tax bill for the property has an address out of state. We researched phone numbers under that LLC to find out one was out of order, and we finally found one where there was either a service or an answering machine that was present. Multiple messages were left for the property owner. When those calls were not returned, just as in the other property that we have chosen 1274, a letter was sent to the property owner at the address out of state. The second comment that we illegally met with Andy at town hall without his legal representation present is also not true. Andy reached out and asked for a meeting at town hall, and we accepted that meeting and scheduled it. He informed us that he would be coming alone, and our lawyer immediately contacted his lawyer to make sure that he knew that we would have counsel present, and we received agreement and authorization to go forward with that meeting. We were also informed that his client was aware we would have counsel there. The third comment I would like to clarify is that the township is, I can't say quote unquote because I'm paraphrasing. The township has not said how many fair market units versus affordable housing units we will build. This is a very simple answer, as the number is 0. Any and all units will be 100% affordable housing towards our state obligation number provided. The Township of Cranbury is not building fair market housing. Lastly, anyone out there wanting to have a conversation with us has been encouraged to do so. Many properties continue to be placed on social media for consideration, and what I can't stress enough is the diligence that we've already done. I'm watching many of you reach the same conclusions that we've reached through our subcommittee and through our property reviews for months now. Andy's property was identified at the state level as developable land because through his own rights, he'd not sold the property. And also because it was not placed in farmland preservation. This property, as well as 1274 South River Road, were used in the actual calculation of our state mandated obligation number. Okay. If anyone missed those comments, I'll be happy to repeat them after public comment. I'll be happy to do that if anyone joins late. Okay, do we have any follow-up items? No? Okay. Vacancies, still the same 4. The Environmental Commission as a first and second alternate open. The Municipal Alliance has a second alternate open, and we have a full membership on the Shade Tree. As the members of the public continue to show up to our meetings, I encourage any of you, have any spare time, if you'd like to volunteer for those positions. Okay. All right, we have a first reading tonight.
Yes, the ordinance that is on this evening for first reading is Cranbury Township Ordinance Number 05-25-07, an ordinance amending and supplementing the provisions pertaining to community residences for developmentally disabled and community shelters for the victims of domestic violence contained in Article 3 of Chapter 150, entitled Land Development of the Code. The second reading for this ordinance will be on June 9th, 2025. We have a motion for introduction.
I'll move.
Second.
Thank you. We're going to move on to roll call for that. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
And Mayor Knierim?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, and we have a second reading this evening.
Yes, this ordinance that is on for second reading is Cranbury Township Ordinance Number 05-25-06, an ordinance amending the Code of the Township of Cranbury, Middlesex County, New Jersey, Chapter 72, entitled Construction Codes Uniform.
Okay. Nope. Nope, I have to
I'll move.
public comment, right?
Oh, before that?
Yeah, is there any public comment on ordinance 525-06? Okay, seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, we'll move on to roll call for adoption. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Knierim?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we have consent resolutions A through A. If anyone would like to have a
So
motion.
moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We'll move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Knierim?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, this is time. We'll open it up to public comment. Just as a reminder, you have a 3-minute time limit. If you're unable to continue whatever it is you'd like to say tonight, please have someone ready as a backup so that make sure you get all of your thoughts out. And with that, we'll open it up. Okay.
And we need each person to sign in and say.
Oh, I'm sorry. And if also when you come up, if you could just sign in and then just state your name.
Thank you. You could, if, it's fine.
You just put your street in,
Yes.
it's fine.
Just say one of the buttons, you'll see, it'll turn, the other one.
The other one,
will
sorry.
keep it right- There you go.
Susan Westerberg, Scottsdale Court. I'd like to make a comment about parks. And if you're listening, Mr. Christopher, there have been some delinquencies in that new adaptive park. One is at the opening in June, I noticed that there was no safety garment for the adaptability. And they keep telling me it's on back order. It can't be on back order that long. So, and also there's poison ivy on the fence that's opposite that. So I'd like both of those things taken care of.
Yeah. And that the follow-up will be with Mr. Scott, as he's the liaison to Parks and Rec. Okay, just so you know.
I think we
Okay.
might confuse people because we've got 4 first names amongst the two of us.
True.
Stephen Golisano, Prospect Street. I just wanted to comment on the mayor's comments just a minute ago. I just want to throw out there, if you're going to post that statement in the mayor's updates, I would just double check the definition of the agricultural development area. It does not mean that land should be developed. It means that it is, it's the agricultural development and ADA is a designated geographic area where agriculture is considered the preferred land use, either currently or potentially in the future. They have the county and state, like you're correct, did identify that as an ADA. They have it listed. The next step is a targeted area where they actually target it for preservation. It just didn't get to that step yet. So I just wanted to clarify that, and you can just check it before you post it. If I'm wrong, then that's fine too. But that's all I want to say, and I appreciate your consideration in the future towards other properties, and if you're able to still consider reaching out to other people, that's great. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, I'm Jennifer Suttmeyer. I can just tell by the way this room is going that I can tell all of you are really uncomfortable and not really happy to be in your seats right now. I can just tell from your nonverbal. And it makes me really sad because I also don't like that lawyers are starting to get involved and our town is starting to spend a lot more money on lawyers. No offense, Mr. Van Heist, but lawyers are expensive. And I feel like all this drama that we've been having, I understand that you guys are doing what you're trying to do. You've been working on something for a long time. I know what it's like to be working on something for a long time and have an axe thrown into it. I had it happen to me with HPC when we had an angry neighbor show up and throw an axe and set us back a year on something we were working on. So I know it's frustrating, but one thing that I implore all of you to do is take a breather, because there's got to be another way for us to achieve our affordable housing goals without like taking land from people that don't want to give it to us. And so I just ask for you guys to, I understand that the state has rules and there's laws and there's a process and a lot of resources and your time has been spent on this. Like, I get that, I appreciate that. But let's, explore pushing back with the state, telling them, explain to them where we are and how we're getting there, making sure the state understands that we're in a place that, as Rob said, this is not something you're enjoying doing, right? Possibly going, talking to a farm that doesn't want to be sold. I also challenge you guys, please, let's think about like areas that are not developable, like farmland. Like, let's think of like brownfields, areas that are run down. I know you guys had a long checklist and everything, and Lisa, I may show up at your house and ask more questions, but like,
Please do.
I feel like there has to be a way, and maybe we can't meet the state 100% of the way with what they're telling us, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to negotiate. So let's try to find another way, is my ask of you guys.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Good evening, Tim Brennan, 10 Park Place East. Not on? I turned it off. Still on, sorry about that.
There you go.
Tim Brennan, 10 Park Place East. Referring to the farmland that's being taken for acquisition. I don't know if you've looked, and I've made a video, it's on 3 different YouTube channels, it's all over, about what surrounds that warehouse-wise. And I'm not sure that you're aware, within 310 meters is a marijuana dispensary. I visited this afternoon. I was 50 yards away. It reeked of marijuana in the parking lot and across the field. Just please look around, and is that where we want to put people from our town to live? The dispensary is called Breakwater. It's been there for a number of years. It was approved by town council to be there, so you guys know it's there. Please take that into consideration. We're talking about putting our neighbors there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Kevin Golisano, 15 Prospect Street. I just want to say that, online bullying, cyberbullying, just any kind of nonsense happening on Facebook or the news or anywhere, don't let the actions of just a few speak for the many. I think there's a lot of people here who want to work with you and are kind people. And just want to restate the importance of preserving and fighting for our open space and farmland. As a few have said before, target sites that can be improved, even if it takes additional investment from the town to get the sewer line out there, or whatever the little technicality is. Let's fight for this town. Don't just go with what a consultant says or what the state says. Fight for Cranbury. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Sam Ortiz, 4 Adams Court. I don't know Andy. if
You're
he's-
lowering your microphone. I'm
Oh,
sorry to
you
interrupt.
gotta-
Thank you.
Sorry.
There you go. Thank you.
Stan Retief, 4 Adams Court. I don't know Andy. If he's in the room, I wouldn't recognize him. I don't know any of you. I live in this area. What you said earlier is despicable. And for anybody to advocate for that kind of action or that kind of behavior, I agree, it's despicable. I don't think it's appropriate, however, for there to be a blanket condemnation of everyone who came here tonight, because I wasn't at that meeting, I wasn't at that parade, and yet I felt scolded when you made your remarks. So I'm sorry what your children are going through, I'm sorry what you're going through. But I think that we ought to realize, as this gentleman just said, that is probably a very small minority. It's unacceptable, but it's a small minority. The other thing I'd just like to add is that this is a lovely part of the township. When I was driving here tonight, I was looking at the historic buildings, looking at all the foliage and whatnot. What we're talking about when I drive down that street, the only part of that thoroughfare that's lovely is where the cows are, is the grazing area. Our kids smile whenever we go by there because of those cows. My understanding is that they've been there for generations. The fact that there isn't a better option seems highly unlikely to me. So I would concur with my fellow citizen who suggested that we continue to look for an alternative. There's got to be a better way. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for having us. Walter Ziegler, 9 Prospect Street, Cranbury. My family has been in this town since 1870. It's likely that my great-great-great-uncle farmed near the Henry farm. We had multiple farms in the area, and looking at the photos outside in the hallway, photos we have at home, this town has always stood by the farmers. Always. My family personally has served in the fire company, Historic Preservation Society, HPC, Lions Club, Women's Club, and my mom's desk as the deputy township clerk used to be right there. I've spent 35 years as an architect and planner. I've worked on Mount Laurel housing. And the way this has gone is entirely against anything any firm I have ever worked for has gone. There should have been open door meetings, charrettes, which if nobody understands what a charrette is when you bring in a designer and they work with the township and they work with the public to understand where the public would like to see something happen. This never happened. This was always behind a curtain. And where you want to put this housing, not only is it bad for Andy and his legacy, but it also is bad for any resident who lives there. There's no services. There's no walkable community. You're 3.5 miles from your nearest neighbor. There's no food, and there's no engagement in the community. We have multiple areas in this town, including out on Old Hagestown Road, south of Hegartyville, where I know that Judson used to talk about housing going, because I used to work for Judson. There are areas across from Old Trenton Road where it comes out on 130, which as Old Trenton Road comes out, that's a natural extension of Old Trenton Road. It's far enough away from warehouses. Yes, it's a forested area. It's a managed area. And it's an area that can be connected visually and physically between the housing area and town. I haven't heard anything about that. There are areas on South Main Street. So I've talked to several of you. If there is if the area south of Hegartyville, as I call it on Hagestown Road, is part of the offset for the land that was used for the turnpike, why can't there be a land swap and use that? And going back to Iman's comment earlier, no one in this town should be threatening anybody, period. It's not what we do. We stand by each other and we talk about it. Go have lunch at Teddy's and discuss.
Thank you, Walter. You all right? Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
You just need to sign
Sign
in.
in and
Sign
sign
in.
paper.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Oleg Brennan, or Alec, whatever you want to call me, 10 Park Place East. I just want to start by saying, I know most of you, I've graduated with 2 of your daughters twice. One of you helped my grandmother when she got cut, and my grandfather got stuck on a seat right very close to his death. And the other one has driven me to soccer practice multiple times. And I love all of you because you guys are, regardless of when I was a Republican, I was in middle school, or when I was a jean short, Birkenstock wearing kid at Grinnell College in Iowa, rooting for a grassroots Democrat, I've always loved all of you guys. Aside from that,
I'm just a little disappointed. I feel like we've all entrusted you with full confidence, regardless if we voted for you or not. I think we're such a small town, everybody can trust each other to make the correct decision. The fact that I'm hearing of Watergate sounding closed door meetings about a small farm town, in a small farm town, about a small farm, it's just a little worrying to me that we're heading in the wrong direction, representative-wise. And I just want this town to get back on track with full transparency, and that Andy can have his farm for however long he wants, and we don't have to get the federal or state government involved with eminent domain. I mean, this is just a small town. We're not Newark. We're Cranbury. We've been around for hundreds of years. And I just think we need to be a little more transparent with our constituents and then look at exactly where we are putting this affordable housing. I mean, are we expecting kids who are here because of a great program, which is affordable housing, which I fully support? Are we expecting them to walk 50 minutes to Cranberry Pizza across a highway? I mean, I think myself in freshman year could have figured out that's a little bit of a logistics problem. We can solve this without yelling and threatening daughters. And if we're for that, then you should leave this town. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Okay, with that, we'll close public comment. Okay. What? Any action items besides the usual commitment to digest the public comments that have been made tonight and come back and be as transparent as we can to answer some of those questions? I hope everybody understands that there's parts of this process that preclude us from sharing certain things. This is a legal process, and it precludes us at this time from saying certain things. It doesn't mean we won't eventually, but I just need to remind everybody of that. So we'll do the diligence on tonight's public comment, and we'll come back next Township Committee, and we'll address those things, and we'll continue to do that.
I captured an action item for Matt. Well, and
to look at the harnesses and the poison ivy, I guess that'd be more of a DP.
Jerry will look into that.
Action item. Okay. 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 Sorry. So we're going to make a motion to close our public session, if I could have that.
So moved.
Did I get a second?
Thank you. We're going to go to roll call in regards to Cranberry Township, R05-25-078. Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi,
yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous. We'll be going into closed session.
Where's Mark?